Oh, my
All
hair is
right. Hey, Amy, welcome.
Hi, Christine.
So I am here with Amy Lundberg, and just so people out there can know a bit about what you do, tell us what it is that you do in your business.
Well, I feel it's kind of a little bit of a loaded question. I've been in business for 20 years, and it has evolved from personal training to what now energy medicine practitioner uh, for women in the personal transformational world. And so a big drastic change over the 20 years. However, I just loved it. I decided to dive into energy medicine. I went to school for 3 years to become a practitioner. And I work with women that are emotionally burnt out, exhausted. The women that are attracted, that come into my practice are very driven, are very successful, are very, uh, you know, they go and they do and they accomplish, but they're burnt out and they've lacked purpose. They're at the point where they lack purpose and they're like,
Yeah.
well, why am I even doing this? So I bring in the energy medicine piece. You can do all the mental gymnastics. You can work on the physical body and do all the cleanses. You can do all the yoga. But what I find, a lot of my people are successful women that have found yoga to help release stress, but they can't figure out how to bring it into their world. And that's where the energy medicine and working with the chakras and into their life has been extremely successful. We process, we work through things, but then I always say the magic happens on the table when you actually get an energy healing, and it's a healing process through whatever in the moment is needed. And I always say magic happens there. So it's been a very interesting journey to bring energy medicine into the coaching world. Extremely successful, leaps and bounds more successful when you start working with the chakra system and your higher self and really get into the extreme strong roadblocks that are actually energetically in the central nervous system that can't break away with processing and exercise, so to speak, and food that we need to kind of get to that place. And so it's been a very rewarding experience to bring the energy medicine into this place.
Yeah, it's so true. And you and I have talked many times. I'm a huge fan of energy work, and I do it in my own, business and life. And so I always say you can have strategy all day long and like learn the how and the things to do and all of the like structure of a business. But then there's the whole mindset, energy, that side of things. And it's so important to have both of those together. And so I was kind of looking back, Amy, at you and I and how long we've been working together. And you're in the mastermind now, but I was actually realizing that you and I have been working together in some capacity for like almost probably more than a year and a half at this point. So why don't
It'll be 2 years, I think, actually.
2 years? Yeah, I think it is
Yeah.
2 years because it's the fall. So why don't you just share a little bit about where you were before we started working together? Like, what was your situation in your business?
Uh, Wanted to reach out in a bigger way. And so when you say that, it means kind of going on online world, not just in person. I love in person. As you can see, my background, I'm in my own healing studio, which is this beautiful healing space. But I do long distance as well. But the on world is another thing. There's a lot of tech and strategy to that. And so that's what I was looking for. And Christine, I'm drawing a blank of what the program was that you helped. We did an actual workshop helping with webinars.
Oh, the webinar workshop. Yep.
The webinar workshop. And from there, that's when I hired you to just say, I love the workshop. I got a lot, but I need the behind the scenes stuff more. So I hired you to help me put on this webinar. And this webinar, you did help me with all the behind scenes techie stuff, because that's my strength is heart and mind.
Yeah.
My strength is in the psychology energy of it all. And so when you get me into the techie stuff, I'm like, oh crap. It's very overwhelming. And actually, just to share with everyone, I mean, I've been in business for 20 years, but as soon as Facebook came in 2009, 2010, 2007 actually, it was right around there, and everyone is bandwagoning doing Facebook,
Twitter.
LinkedIn, all of that.
Mhm.
It overwhelmed me so much that I took a year sabbatical because I was like, I can't keep up. I learned, back then you do teleseminars
Yep, yep, I
online,
remember
your
those.
phone or computer. So I'm going back a ways, but once social media came in, it drowned me.
Yeah.
So I took a year sabbatical off in 2010, actually, a whole year. I'm like, I don't know if this is right for me.
Mm.
And then felt the inner guidance to say, get back in the game, Amy. And so I did. And for a long time, I just stayed away from the social media and did one-on-one. But once I wanted to get online, then that's when we did that. And we did such a successful webinar. I made a lot of money on that webinar. So
Yeah,
that was really nice. And I'm like, okay. And then
yeah.
that's what led to Mastermind is like, okay, I want that like on a regular basis.
Yeah, and the webinar was really like the start of it because, as you said, the tech is a hurdle, which is totally normal for a lot of entrepreneurs. I mean, you're good at your craft, you're good at your service, but you don't necessarily want to have to deal with all the tech stuff. So I know that you found it really helpful that I was able to help with all the behind the scenes stuff. And then you did the webinar and it was your magic, like I helped you with that, but you had your magic and you got some one-on-one clients. I think you made like $16,000 and it was just like a small webinar. Even you were just kind of like, this is just for me dipping my toe out there, but you did really great. So what else can you share in terms of like specific things that have changed in your life, in your business, since we've been working together?
So before I was very sporadic, and I have 4 children, so
Yeah.
I give myself space. I've learned that the whole self-love and compassion and to ebb and flow. And so with 4 children, I have learned that there's going to be seasons where I'm just not available for my businesses full time. And then when I do, I'm gung ho. And I found that works best for me because I can be really quiet. But working with you, I learned more consistency. I don't have to be putting myself out there all the time, but just little snippets like a monthly newsletter. I know in me, I always say I don't have a chakra for discipline.
Yeah.
Energy medicine, we learn what we don't have chakras for.
Yeah.
I do not have a chakra. I feel it's kind of a little umbrella-ish because we all
Yeah.
have some form of discipline. But this particular piece was a little more struggle. So with what I found with the mastermind group, just being on the monthly trainings, always being able to anytime get a 20-minute call with you anytime, has just helped me stay consistent.
Mm.
And I'm not in my own vacuum, which as a charismatic leader, soul energy, being in a vacuum is one of the worst ways to be in a business for charismatic leaders, because charismatic leader energy has big vision, but they need their peeps to make that work.
Yeah.
So charismatic leaders have always needed a team. And once I learned that in energy medicine school, I'm like, okay. And then so Christine was my team, and she was kind of my, you were kind of my, you know, I don't want to say assistant, but you're kind of that partner, I
Yeah.
want to say, where you can get ideas. And that's one of your gifts, I feel, is like you can strategize anything or give you those quick instant cash. I know you have a name for it, the
Oh,
instant
the
cash
income
where,
infusions. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
where you just go in and you're like, let's, quick money,
Yeah.
let's do this and that. And so for me, raising a family, those infusions have been extremely helpful and all that. So help me get out of my vacuum of being
Yeah.
alone. It helped me be more consistent. And like, me, where I've always said I need someone to be there because I'll just back off.
Yeah.
It's just, you've always been like, text, hey Amy, how are you doing, where are you at, when I've been quiet for a while. And so that's like just that nice little seed that someone's there for you. So that's always been extremely helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. And I appreciate you sharing a bit about how your own energy, and you manage that with your business. Like you said, there's like seasons, right? And so, that's also something to point out for people, that not every business owner is the same. So it's not that there's a cookie cutter, or like you have to fit into this blueprint. One of the things
Mhm.
that I think I pride myself on is the customization, that every client is different, and it's not just like, go do this plan and this is what the same plan I give to everybody else, because we all work differently and we're all wired differently. So I think
Mhm.
it's very important that you brought that up. What about the retreats? Because we have in-person retreats for the mastermind, but obviously this year is a little crazy. We haven't been able to do it in person, but you did come down to the one we had, I think was last fall,
Yep.
and you've done the virtual retreats with me. So can you share a bit about how those have been helpful for you?
Yeah, I really did like that. Well, she lives in St. Petersburg, people, so it's a great
Part
place to
of the
go for a
site.
retreat.
Yeah.
But the in-person was really much more, well, it's just easier, and there cannot be anything done, but it's much more easy to network and really get to know people.
Mhm.
Uh, I felt, and so that was huge for me. Also, at that particular one was an emphasis on private Facebook groups,
Mm,
and that really helped me like take that next leap of my brand and putting myself out there. And it has organically grown to almost 300, and I'm almost at a year, and I haven't really done a lot. I mean,
mhm.
I'm always on there because I actually like it. I like to find posts that I would naturally put on my own personal page. I just put it on their page to inspire, to give hope, to, Mercury retrograde. We're going Mercury retrograde right now. It's
Yeah.
October. Um, and so I'm giving posts on how to help ones go through Mercury retrograde and little things like that, getting on live Facebook, and actually so people are listening to me, and getting that feedback has been very motivating to stay consistent. So on that retreat, the particular, just getting that gumption, like I can do it, and
Yeah.
going ahead and doing it, the networking and getting to know the other masterminders that are in your group was huge. And I still feel like I have really good relationships with them. And then the online retreats have been really helpful in just the strategizing of things. I know one of them was the putting a challenge together and what that entails.
Mhm.
However, you know, me personally, I'm kind of like, again, a charismatic leader, soul energy. We like shortcuts, and
Oh
I'm
yeah.
like, I don't want to do a fire. Let's just get the webinar out
Hmm.
and just trust that my energy, my powerful intentions in working these chakras and working in my higher self will attract the right people.
Yeah.
So I look at things a little differently, but the challenges, um, I know one of your mastermind members did it, and it was really fun to watch her take that and see how her business grew, and just always just those seeds that, like, yeah, when I want to, when it inspires me to, I have the strategies from the retreat. I've got the tools, and that's one thing I love about it, is that it's right there for me to grab and just go
Mhm.
take off and do. Your monthly trainings, the same thing. I just did the testimonial one that you offered. Huge.
Oh,
I
yeah.
got some really powerful testimonials by tweaking my template and adding what you incorporated. And I'm looking forward to bringing those testimonials into my next funnel, seeding for the next thing I do.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I'm so glad you mentioned sort of the inspiration of seeing the other people around you in the mastermind also doing things, because we do our own things and then we also get lifted up by the other members. A mentor of mine, used to always say, a rising tide lifts all ships. It was like a famous
Mhm.
saying. And I always think about that with the mastermind, because it's like other people, when you surround yourself with other people who are up to big things and doing big things in the world, it can't help but to lift you as well. Because Amy, you and I have talked about, being an entrepreneur can be really lonely
Mhm.
and isolating, and you do need to have that be plugged in to other
Mhm.
people who are kind of in the same place, striving for the next thing in their business. So I'm glad that you mentioned that. So would you say, for somebody who's watching this, would you say that investing in a program like this, is a good investment? Because there's so many places we can put our investments, not just money, but time, energy, all of that. What would you say in terms of the investment and whether it's worth it for someone to do that?
I would say definitely. But what I have found um, to the biggest return on investment is your expertise in the tech. I mean, your editing skills. I mean, I swear I make at least another 5,000 just by you tweaking some of my emails
Oh, that's awesome.
on how you word it. The templates for the webinar and what I would do and how your team puts that together gives it a different feel of that is more professional because you have that expertise. I feel the return on investment is being able to brainstorm ideas. Like I just can't come up with this. This is the vacuum piece of it all. Is like I don't have to live in that vacuum. I can reach out.
Yeah.
I can put it on the private Facebook group if I wanted to and ask for guidance there. And getting input from all of the other entrepreneurs is really valuable as well. But for me, the gold is in your ability to take what I write and switch the verbiage up that's going to really get to the heart of where a person is and make that good. That's me personally, is where I find the value is being able to say, okay, here's all my emails for this. Here's my template. Please help me, and I feel like that has been, I truly believe I've made thousands of dollars more by having you in my back pocket for those reasons.
Well, congratulations, first of all. That's amazing. And I'm glad you brought up like the templates, because we got templates coming out our ears, right? In the mastermind, there's a template for everything. I always have some sort of resource. And I love that because you send me, a message like, Christine, this is the email I want to send to my list for my newsletter or whatever. And, can you tweak it and just make it better? So it's like, we're very hands-on. It's not like I'm up here and, it's like, oh, good luck. It's like, no, I want to actually get my hands in the business and in your stuff because, why wouldn't you, right? To help people get the results that they want to get.
I would say the Facebook ads too, Christine, have been helpful because I would know how to tweak.
Yeah,
that's right. That more. I'm like, that is again another expertise that I don't want to take the time or energy to make that happen. And so for you to get into my account, Amy, I'm gonna make these couple little switches. I'm like, oh, thank God.
Right.
Go do it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like hands-on, I get in your Facebook ads account, do some things. And yeah, that's cool that I'm glad you remembered that. So if somebody is watching this and they're, thinking, okay, this sounds good, but like, is it a good idea to work with Christine or, be in the mastermind? What would you say to people who are, kind of thinking about whether it's a good thing for them to do? What's your advice?
I was just looking at my notes because I wrote something down I didn't want to forget.
Oh, okay. You came prepared.
I want to say this in the most loving way, but and I don't know how it'll come across, but Christine isn't so big, shall we say, that you just become a number in a big mastermind group where there might be like 25, 30, 100, 200 people, where you just have only so much time to do Q&A. You bring your thing in, you do Q&A, you might get an answer, but there's no follow through. I mean, I've been in those masterminds, and they've been a waste of time because they haven't been able to do a follow-up question, or I'll go do it and then I get stuck again, and then I got to wait another month to have that question. It never has worked. So with me saying Christine is so one-on-one, and so available. And she's got you've got your masterminds growing. Every time I click on social media, it's like, thanks so and so for joining. Welcome so and so to the mastermind. You're growing, but yet you still allow and give us the one-on-one that we need to strategize and grow, and not be so big that we can't do follow-up or we can't connect with you. And I'm hoping that doesn't make you sound small, because it doesn't.
We
But it's
purposely
intimate.
keep it. We
It's the
purposely keep it intimate, is what you're saying. I think we
Mhm.
purposely keep the mastermind the size it is, because as it gets bigger, if people want to scale their business that way, that's great. But I personally love to be able to be hands-on, and
Mhm.
you only have so much time in the day, right?
And
So
that's why you would hire Christine.
yeah, there you
That
go.
is exactly why you hire Christine. You get hands-on.
Yeah, so I'm not wanting clients to ever get lost in the crowd. There are those programs out there, and that's fine for some people, but that's just not how we do things, around here. And that's I think why clients really find it beneficial, that they do get that access and they don't get lost in the shuffle. So thank you for sharing that, Amy. And just kind of as we wrap up here, how can people connect with you? What's your social media? How can people find you online?
You can go to amylundberg.com. I forewarn you right now, at this date that you watch this, I have website shame that I have not taken that process to change it, so it doesn't reflect everything that I do or
It's
what
in
I've done.
transition.
But it's a way to connect with me. What is it? Soul Sister Sanctuary is the private Facebook group, and that is super easy. Private message me, Amy Lundberg. One with the Minnesota address. I'm sure there's a lot of Amy Lundbergs. So you can do that, or aim for it at gmail.com. But yeah, I love talking soul profiles with people. I talked about very charismatic leader. It just helps me know soul energy profiles, helps me learn how to help other women in their environment, if it's an entrepreneur or skills, or corporations, management, how to use their soul energy to enhance their life and their career path. So,
Awesome.
and not get burnt out, eliminate burnout,
Yeah.
and get back to fun, joy, and happiness.
Stay out of that burnout place. It's not fun to be there. I was there at one
No.
point in my life. Not something I want to go back to ever again.
Mhm.
So thank you, Amy, so much for sharing with everyone. And if you connect with Amy on social media, it's great. Find out more about what she does. Ask her questions. If you have questions about what it's like working with me or being in the mastermind, Amy, I know, would be happy to share with you personally. So check her out. And thank you again, Amy, for chatting today.
Thank you, Christine.
You're welcome.